curve, which is your typical office buildings, your cinema complexes, your steel plants where there is no hydrocarbons or fuels or oils. And this is your typical hydrocarbon fire curve. The differences really being is that cellulosic fire curves, I think I've killed your pen, cellulosic fire curves run at a slow growth rate compared to a hydrocarbon fire curve that within about 45 seconds of that ignition, you're at 1100 degrees Celsius. We do protect both types. So what is fire protection? There's two basic forms of fire protection: passive fire protection and active fire protection. Passive being coaters, mortars, pillows, panels, collars, and active systems being sprinklers, suppression systems, extinguishers, halon gases, those types of activation systems. So passive fire protection. Passive fire protection measures are intended to contain a fire in the compartment of origin, or compartmentalisation. Now it's all called zoning. So stopping the spread of fire and corrosive and fatal fuel gases, which is majority of your hydrochloric acids, for a limited period of time. And there is no activation method required at all. It activates itself. So the limited period of time where it's stated there, that just means that you may have a penetration seal that is 1 hour fire rated, or 2 hour, up to 6 hour fire rated. So that period of time runs on its time test. So on a cellulosic fire curve, at around 1092 degrees, that's a 2 hour rating. So that's how long the slow growth gets to. On a hydrocarbon fire curve, it's 1100 degrees in 45 seconds. So there's a variation in difference. For active fire protection, active means that items or systems are activated mechanically, electronically, or require an amount of motion of activity to function, even being a person squeezing an extinguisher. That's an active situation. So what are we and what is it? The fire security system consists of cable coatings, penetration seals, and steel coatings, structural steel coatings. Not high temperature coatings, just structural steel, which stops the spread of flame along cable systems, fire-rated cable penetrations, and structural steel. Structural steel now up to 4 hours. The primary products within the FS system are FS11 and FS15 cable coating, FS mortar, panels, pillows, sealants and collars, and fire-rated steel coatings now up to 4 hours. We've just finished our UL tests for 4 hours for interior and exterior applications. Where we just stepping back there onto your penetration seals, such as mortar, panels, pillows and sealants, we've been doing passive fire protection for around 25 years, me personally 22 years. When you go to companies like Hilti or 3M, who are rather large in the market, they have hundreds of different products. So much so that they confuse themselves with their choices. They will never know where they're heading with their products. We get that quite a lot. But when we devised our system, we devised 5 products, because these 5 products are the 5 most used products. They're the most practical products. Our mortar is 6 hour fire rated. Our panels are 4 hour fire rated. You'll never see a 6 hour fire rating anywhere. We simply just didn't turn the test off because we wanted to see how long it would last. But they're practical solutions. They're not, we will have every solution for you for any cable or any pipe or any finger that runs through a penetration. It doesn't exist. There's too many choices. So we broke ours down to a more practical solution that's fully rated, whether it's an industrial application or a commercial application. And when we added our structural steel coatings, and now with our 4 hour fire ratings, interior and exterior, there's not much that we cannot do as far as passive fire protection and protecting a substrate is concerned. We're also working now on a 2 hour fire rated coating for timber and wood applications. but we can't get a clear coating because you need the fire retardant additives in it, which makes the coating white. But hopefully we'll get there. So, regardless of product, and regardless of what you're trying to achieve, this is probably the most important sheet in everything that we go through today. So why do you use passive fire protection? I'll keep that red out for a minute. We want to prevent flame spread to other areas. So we fire stop rooms. And that means that that's zoned, and that means that that fire in one room or room A will not get to room B because you've got your fire-rated penetration seals. To prevent spread of corrosive toxic gases and acids and smokes, to adhere to national and company standards or the requirements of insurers, and to lower maintenance costs for facilities. So you've got to remember that any active system that you have on your facility, whether it's an extinguisher in the corner of the room, that hose reel, the alarm system, all has to be maintained monthly. It has to have a stamp on it, which means for a facility, it costs money every month. Every month they have to pay. It's not the installation of those active systems that costs money. It's the maintenance contracts that cost money because that's where the guys make their money. Now, they all work, don't get me wrong. Water comes out of hoses and it puts out fires, and it's exactly what it's supposed to do. But if you can lower the cost of the facility and to the cost of the asset and your client, then that's quite important while continuing the integrity of the building. So what do we protect? We protect, first and foremost, the people. Depending on where you are in the world and who you're talking to, you may be assets first over the people. But people, assets, operation and profit, there is always, and I'll get to this point, there's always another supplier if you cannot perform, and zero business interruption. First and foremost, in application and choice, zero business interruption means that all of our products can be applied live. So we do not interrupt your business when these products are installed. Whether it's an alumina plant, we're doing substations in an alumina plant, that plant does not shut down. We don't have to do it at their annual shutdown. We don't have to coat their cables or fill their holes and penetrations. It can all be done while live. So for a customer, they know that even if we turn up on site, they're not turning their system down for us to do our work and protect their system. So to protect, obviously to protect people, the higher the hourly rating, the better. That means that we can get people out of that building over a period of time before that fire will move from one room to another. To protect the asset itself, looking from a customer or a user or an owner's point of view, having the right protection and doing it the right way the first time, certifying it and using the correct applicators will protect their asset, protect their profit, and protect their operation. Now, their profit by meaning if there is a fire in an area, especially with our cable coating, it is isolated to the source of the fire. It doesn't spread through the cable system. Their downtime is absolutely minimal. So their operation is not turned off for a larger period of time. Their profit is still held because they're only down for a minimum of hours, not days, months or weeks. So it's a core business belief for us, not only just to put in fire protection to stop a fire, but also to continue their operation, to continue their profit, to protect their asset. Now, if they don't fire protect, even if you're talking about sprinkler systems or active systems or other systems, if they lose their asset to fire, they lose their operational method, they're losing their profit. The one thing that insurance companies will not pay for after a fire is the loss of your client, the loss of your future sales. So it's not, this is, fire protection used to be just filling a hole and putting a bit of paint on a steel or painting on cable. It's gone so far now to another method that it's not just part of a construction, it's part of your absolute business policy. And it's part of the model you should be using as a customer to protect your business. You have insurance. in case you have interruption of some kind. You might have insurance that if your staff breaks your leg, they can you've got their wages insured. But a lot of people don't actually look at fire protection as an insurance situation where we're protecting your asset and operation. So I'm going to. Isn't that lovely, though? So I'm just going to play 2 movies for you, and then I'm going to move into our products, and then it will all sort of start to understand a bit more. So I don't know what that first one. No. Trunk or something. It's not coming through. Sorry, I'm just going to see if we can fix the sound on this.
System hyvä, ottaa tuot. Se heima meni.
Ottaa krålorna.
Í því líka bara ímynda hljóðið, ekki öll.
Ekki skjöld ná.
Ég rétt að pössi.
Kannski eins og nóta það í.
Ég mæki henni fyrir það.
Já.
Probably was just explain it rather than dealing with the technology. Okay.
What this is actually showing, sorry, they're fixing their cable. What this is actually showing is one of our products. This is an 1100 degree burner, and it expands. It's an intumescent coating. What happens under fire? It fully expands up to 100 times its thickness to insulate and protect the electrical cable. So what it's showing is that once it's burning, we're scraping away, and this is only a 1 millimeter thickness coating. So it will expand. See, they're scraping it away. The coating is still there. It hasn't even yet been affected. So then they'll place it under flame again and again and again until you get to the actual cable substrate. Luckily, there's no talking in this video. So you'll see the expansion there. You'll see that the actual dry film thickness is only 1 millimeter. This runs for a 90-minute period. It's a 90-minute test. So we can fire rate a non-fire rated standard PVC cable for up to 90 minutes, whether it's a single or it's in a bundle or it's in a tray. So if you have emergency lighting in your or emergency cable in your building that's non-fire rated, instead of replacing that cable, you can actually coat the cable and the whole system. So then all of your cable is actually sitting at a 90-minute fire rate. We're working on our FS11 now, which is one type of coating to actually be 120-minute fire rated. We think that we'll be looking at around 1.5 millimeters. So you're only looking at a dry weight on an electrical tray of around about 2 kilograms per square metre overall once it's fully cured. So the weight on the tray doesn't exceed the limits of the integrity of the tray and structural capability. I do need the sound for the other one though. Unless you want to use this. So this other video is just, it's a variation of our product where we repair cable, and not only repairing the existing cable instead of pulling cable and replacing cable, we use our products to repair the system itself, but not only repairing the system, the customer also gets a 90-minute fire rating on top of his repair.
Just take this mic, put to the...
That's technical.
Yes. This helps too. No. Taking compressor. You can hear it?
The environment on an oil installation is very tough. Cables exposed to ozone, oil, mud, chemicals, water, salt, and UV will degrade over time. Mechanical stress on cables and cable jackets is caused by vibration and vessel movement. These factors will reduce the lifetime of your cables. Damaged cables may be a serious safety issue once their integrity is lost. Tests have shown that damaged cables no longer meet their specification in terms of fire performance. Rerouting or replacing cables will normally interrupt the operation and may involve extended shutdown periods. Fire Security produce cost-effective coating systems that can repair damaged cables and protect your cables from environmental damage and mechanical stress. Our team use an approved method for repair of damaged cables. First, we investigate and mitigate the root cause of the damage. If the outer sheath and the cable screen is damaged, we clean the affected area and rebuild the screen by use of a metal shielding tape. We then apply FS5 coating. A fiber mesh is used to gain mechanical strength and as support for the coating. The repair cable is tied in place and coated with the other cables on the tray. The excellent properties of the coating will restore the cable value and upgrade the cable's fire performance in accordance with the highest standards. A normal cable will degrade over time, depending on the environment. FS-coated cables slow down this process dramatically. Our solution will extend the lifetime of your cables with no interruption of the operation. Fire Security may also investigate and determine the causes of premature aging of your cables. FS1 coating system has been tested on an 1100 degrees Celsius oil fire for more than 1 hour without any problem to the insulation or the electrical properties. Normal cables, such as flame retardant and fire resistant cables, cannot withstand such a fire. Our coating systems will guarantee that your cables will function properly under such a fire and be reusable afterwards. FS coating systems have been approved by leading international classification societies. The coatings are water-based and do not contain any toxic material. Aging tests show the long-term benefits. Fire Security is the only cable coating producer offering a turnkey operation for application worldwide. Our customers include the world's largest drilling and oil companies, such as Total, Shell, Pemex, Petrobras, BP, Statoil, Dolphin, ConocoPhillips, Transocean, Seadrill, and many more. Fire Security has offices in Norway, Dubai, Indonesia, the United States, Mexico, and Brazil. So no matter where you are based, we will be there too. Fire Security, your leading partner in protection of electrical cables.
So that just gives you an indication of what our cable coating systems do. So what I might do is just give you these to travel around and have a look while you're... You can see there's just a thin film strip of the coating, but also what the coating looks like on an electrical cable. And if you guys want to take that cable and burn it to death, go for your life. That's what it's there for.
Fire on the table.
Yeah, not here though. But you're the right guys to have here if there was a fire. So that's just got a dry film thickness of 1 millimetre on that actual cable. It is, and I'm going to say this, but please don't bend the cable because it's not a flexible cable. It is a highly flexible coating. So and very tough. So what's going to happen is if that's in your cable trays, you can walk on it. There's no issue there at all. And the flexibility you will see just by the strip that I've got there. So there's two types that you're playing with. The reason why we talk about cable coating so much over fire stopping. I know fire stopping is a given law, a principle of zoning and compartmentalisation. But what fire stopping, and we sell it, and we love our fire stopping, and that's all fine. But fire stopping room to room only means that you are willing to, especially in industrial zones, is you are willing to lose what's in that room to stop the fire. Because 90% of the time that fire will spread, especially in industrial zones, the fire will spread through the electrical cable system. And you're talking about, without draft, a vertical of 20 metres a minute. So it's a phenomenal amount of fire spread on an electrical sheath, especially PVC or UPVC. HDPE is the same. So with our cable coating, we coat the electrical cables or in the trays or singles or in bundles to the gland of the machine, which means that if there's a fire, the fire stays at the machine. The MCC or the switchgear or the switchboards, it does not spread through the cable system. And as you saw before, even under direct fire, you replace the cable coating, not the cable. It's a sacrificial coating. It's a permanent solution, but it's still sacrificial. It's there to save the cable. I used to sell a cable coating, I used to manufacture it for 15 years, called KBS coating. And we used to always say we would put the cable coating on the cable to stop the fire, not save the cable. It was the predominant key thing here was to stop the fire. But now with fire security products, it's evolved. We not only stop the fire, but we save the cable too. So then it goes all the way back to your business interruption and saving your customer their operation and their profit. So it's a real key point. So you'll always hear me talking about cable coating over fire stopping. Fire stopping, if your rooms are completely cable coated, you hardly need fire stopping. You need it to stop smoke. That's what you need it for. But by law, you have to have it. So our FS15 cable coating, which you've got floating around here. For instance, in this picture here, you'll see that's a guy in the background up in a steel plant. So what they're doing is cable coating these massive amounts of trays, but they're not doing all of the trays. This is actually open air. It's called open air stitching or fire stopping. And we do this because they're willing to lose an amount of cable, but still willing to stop the fire. So the cable trays, which are running all the way along, that fire will stop at this point. It will not spread up here and then go to the interchange areas over here where other trays are running into the sections and then running to other sides of the plant. So what this is doing is actually it's open air fire stopping on trays. You can't put a wall here, it's not possible. But we'll stitch this area and then stop it after a period of time to also stop the spread of flame. So with our FS15, FS11, FS1 and 5, 4 cable coatings in total, it's a revolutionary ablative cable coating on the market today. It's a non-intumescent coating. Intumescent means that it expands under fire and insulate. Ablative is exactly the same function as dry ice. ablative or an ablative chemical reaction for cable coating, all it does under fire is it extrudes a gas, non-toxic, non-hazardous, which chokes the area or starves the area around the cable of oxygen. Then you go back to your fire triangle, fuel, heat, fuel and oxygen. There's no oxygen, therefore that fire cannot spread. So with FS15, we have a very low dry film thickness of 1 millimetre. Industry standard now is still 1.6, so we're 62% actually under the industry standard rate. Spread rates, 1.85 kilograms per square metre, no wastage, and 2.4 kilograms per square metre with wastage. We always include the wastage, and the 2.4 kilograms is a wet run, or a wet weight, I should say. Its cured weight is around 1.85 kilograms per square metre, and that's the weight you're adding to your cable or cable tray. We fire rate cables up to 90 minutes. Non-fire rated cables, emergency cable, emergency lighting cable, high voltage, low voltage data cable, and various amounts of sheath, even silicon sheath. All we can fire rate up to 90 minutes after cure, with only 1 millimetre dry film thickness. We are FM approved. FM Global is a worldwide insurer who actually approves products to be used on their site. For instance, I think Alcoa has changed now, they're not FM, but Alcoa used to be an FM approved or FM insured company. So, being an FM insured company, they would only be allowed to use, for their insurance guidelines, FM approved product. That's why we have to have these standards. IEC 60331 23 and 21 and also 11-11 are fire rating approvals for electrical cable, not for cable coating. So what we did was take coated cable and test to the electrical cable standards. So IEC has approved us, and they're the governing body for electrical cable. DMV approved for marine applications, and LEED approved for green building. LEED approved means that simply there's zero VOC in our product, no volatile content whatsoever. It's non-toxic, non-hazardous, and approved. With LEED, I think there's got to be 300 parts per million or 350 parts per million to be approved. We're around 10. So, I mean, you could eat the stuff, but it's not very healthy for you. But it definitely won't kill you. So if anyone has questions, just jump in, please. So whether high voltage, low voltage control or data cable, FS15 is the answer for complete protection of the cable for 90 minutes. Now there's two things. We've also just finished a whole raft of tests in Warrington in the UK for British Rail for compartment fires, toxicity, spread of flame, what's called cone calibration testing, which I still don't quite understand. But it's all to do with quantity of people in a train compartment, and if the cables underneath the train compartment are burning, is the toxicity being a level too high and will kill those people due to the smoke. We passed that as a class 0, and there's actually no real class 0. There's a class 1, class 2 spread of flame, but it runs at 1 to 12 on a figure rate, and we were 1.6 on a figure rate.